Welcome to Public Safety Talk Radio, the podcast for all of our heroes in public safety, including law enforcement professionals, firefighters, EMTs, corrections officers, healthcare workers, and more. The show is produced by the POCUA and is founded upon its Soundness Initiative. This episode is sponsored by the Finest Service Organization, a provider of line-of-duty death loan protection through many of our POCUA institutions. I am Ken Bader, your host for Public Safety Talk Radio, and I have a great guest today, and I will say this beforehand. I have been remiss in not having more police and fire foundation representatives on this show. I certainly did that in my last show, and we just haven't done enough of that. So I'm going to start correcting that this morning. We have the great Joe Salome, who is, and I believe I even got that right, didn't I?
Close enough.
Close enough. Well, at least I didn't say Joe Salami. I know it wasn't that.
I get a lot of that.
But we'll just call him Joe. More importantly, he is the Director of Operations for the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. And just as important, at least, he's a former commander with the Chicago Police Department, if I got that correct. I think you served over 30 years. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here, Ken.
And did I get that right?
Yes. 100%.
All right, I'm doing something right this morning. You know, and this is only one cup of coffee. I need to get on my second. But let's start here, Joe. How did you get involved in the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation?
Well, back in 2005, our superintendent of police, I was with the police department at the time, would go to major police chiefs meetings every year in different cities and see that these cities had memorials to their fallen officers. Chicago Police Department has and still has a honored star case in their headquarters building, which each star number has been retired and will never be issued again. Mm-hmm. And it's great, but not many people see it. So Phil Klein decided to start a foundation, and he became the executive director, raise funds to do our Gold Star Families Memorial and Park, which is, if you're familiar with the city, is between Lake Michigan and Soldiers Field, where the Bears play. It's a beautiful site. It's kind of
the Bears play there. I'm from Chicago. I remember Soldier Field. I don't remember a football team actually playing there for over 30 years, but.
And they're still there. There's talk about them moving to Arlington Heights, but yeah. I hope they stay. Where was I?
I threw you off with. Sorry, I'm a Bears fan. I'm a very frustrated Bears fan. You hit a nerve, but look, go ahead. Continue.
You and I both. So he decided that our fallen officers should have a memorial that people would be more readily able to see and visit. And he started a not-for-profit organization dedicated to the lives of our 595 Chicago police heroes who died in the line of duty. He was able to complete that in 2006. And in my humble opinion, it's the finest police memorial in the country, honoring fallen police officers anywhere. And I've seen numerous.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the top two. I've seen the one in Chicago and obviously seen the one in Washington, D.C.
That one's great.
I'll toss a coin up and say, but yeah, in all seriousness, I wish we didn't have that many fallen officers where we wouldn't have enough to actually have the need for a memorial, frankly.
I agree. It's, every officer's murder is a tragedy. And, it's not just his life that's impacted. Their entire family and their extended family, as well as their adopted family, the Chicago Police Department and its city.
Yeah, I don't think that most civilians, I've never been in law enforcement, but I've had the privilege of working with law enforcement in one way, shape, or form for over 20 years. And I think a lot of civilians, they may even have some sympathy and some caring for the fallen officer, but I don't think they really realize, I do through the show and through other means, the domino effect of what that does to the immediate family, the extended family, the colleagues in that, it really is a domino effect of unfortunateness, if that's even a word.
I agree. And it's slow building and long lasting, and, the families, never get over it. They just, they try to heal as best they can. And, every family's different. And, and I think we are in a position to best help them. We can never make them whole, but we can try and help them. And I think that's what I enjoy the most, is helping the families of the fallen and the catastrophically injured.
Yeah.
We consider the catastrophically injured, and we give them the same, I don't want to say benefits because that's a terrible word, but we give them the same consideration as the fallen.
Sure. Which is a great segue to the next question, which is the mission or the main objectives of the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Is it to provide support for these families? Is it to honor the fallen? Are there a couple of objectives that I'm just not seeing as a civilian? What are the primary purposes of the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation?
It's a great question. So after the wall was unveiled, our director, Phil Klein, realized we have some money left over. Let's try and push it forward and help officers and officers that are and families of the fallen officers. So it then became the mission beyond the memorial. And thanks to the loyalty and generosity of the Chicago Police Department members, who give us 90% of them a payroll contribution to us every pay period, which is their contributions are 100% used to help families. That's segregated funds. That's all we use it for. We don't use it to buy copy paper or ink or anything like that. It's just all goes to the family. But thanks to generosity of businesses such as the Chicago Patrolmen's Federal Credit Union and Motorola, we focus on the needs of the men and women of the Chicago Police Department and their families. The Chicago Police Memorial Foundation provides support and financial assistance to the families of CPD officers who were killed or catastrophically injured in the line of duty. And since 2007, the total assistance that we've given to these families is $14.1 million.
That's huge.
And it is huge. And, again, it doesn't make them whole, but it helps them, and we want them to heal and the best they can.
Yeah. And this has been, especially the last couple years. I'd be remiss if I didn't go down this road just a little bit, and then we'll make a U-turn and go back to something else. But it's been tumultuous, especially the last 2 years. It's been my opinion as an outsider that it's been extremely tumultuous since 2014 and what happened in Ferguson. Are you seeing, maybe through your work through the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, because I'm starting to see a little bit of this even in Los Angeles, where I am now, that there's a slight pendulum swing to, let's have some more understanding for police. Police aren't the enemy. How has the foundation kind of gotten through the tumultuous times? And do I have any credence to what I just said, or am I just ignorant? Are we still in the midst of a lot of anti-cop rhetoric?
I think both. I think, like you said, the last 2 years were
you could actually just answer like most of my guests, say, no, Ken, you're ignorant, and then we can move on.
I'm sure we'll get there. We're just not there yet.
Now a word from one of the POCUA's proud business partners, OfficerPrivacy.com. OfficerPrivacy.com was founded by Pete James, a law enforcement professional with over 25 years of experience. Pete wanted to find a way to help law enforcement officers protect themselves and their families. So he formed a team to create a way to quickly identify and remove their information from certain sites. officerprivacy.com is the result. This service is already offered through a select few of our POCUA organizations. As a listener of Public Safety Talk Radio, you can take advantage of a special offer from officerprivacy.com. Go to officerprivacy.com/POCUA, and when you sign up, you'll get 2 additional bonuses. In addition to removing your personal information from the top 30 people search sites, they will give you your first 2 months of monitoring free. This is a value of $39.98. In addition to that, you'll receive a cell phone privacy device, a $19.99 value. This prevents data from leaving your cell phone when you use public charging stations and is a must when traveling. So go to officerprivacy.com/POCUA today to take advantage of this offer and to protect your privacy. Organizations who are members of the POCUA and are interested in offering the service directly to their members, contact us at POCUA@btcinc.org.
Actually, so the last 2 years have been, crazy, and the attacks on the profession of police officer are, to me, beyond the pale. And it has gotten a little better. I don't think the pendulum's swinging the other way. I just think it's not swinging as violently one way. So that's good. And, it affects what police officers do. The police officers will readily put their lives in danger to complete a mission, whatever that would be. They will do that, not blindly, but they will do it. And that's what they get paid for. That's what they understand. When they get second guessed and second guessed to death after, they're trying to do the right thing and something went sideways, or somebody wants to give the appearance that it went sideways. Mm-hmm. That's where coppers will start to think, hold on, I better think twice before I act. And that's dangerous for everybody. It's dangerous for police officers, and it affects their morale. And I want coppers to do their job and do it well, and not be afraid of that segment of, I hope I'll get second guessed to death if I don't do this perfectly, and that makes you hesitant, and that's dangerous. So we got to get back more towards supporting the police instead of excoriating a group of people for the actions of maybe 1 or 2 people that didn't do right.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. It's not the foundation's opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and we'll get back to the foundation. I think that much like the episode that just came out of Public Safety Talk Radio, Alan Baris from Reflex Protect, we joked about, some civilians just not understanding. They think it's all Hollywood. Just shoot the gun out of his hand. Couldn't you just shoot him in the leg? Well, all right, you make that decision in a half a second. Well, when somebody's coming at you.
And then they'll play back the body-worn camera video frame by frame by frame and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done this. And it's like, it's a terrifying time usually when that happens, for the police officer. And they just fall back under training.
Agreed. Well, let's get back to the foundation, because in looking through your website, there's a number of programs that I want to at least touch upon, including Helmets for Heroes, Get Behind the Vest, which I felt was very interesting. Tell me more about the programs that the foundation is rolling out and the good that you're doing for Chicago police officers.
Sure. So I think the most the most popular one that the Chicago police officers appreciate the most is our Get Behind the Vest program. Mm-hmm. To date, we've supplied Chicago police officers with almost 12,000 vests at $500 a piece to replace their expired vests. Vests last 5 years. That's it. And then I shouldn't say they last 5 years. They expire after 5 years. And then they need to be replaced in order for the officer to be as safe as possible. They break down because of sweat, heat. Sometimes if they get folded, they get messed up and aren't as safe. So the foundation decided to start buying them their vests, and basically right now every officer who has wanted a vest from us has been supplied a vest. That's tremendous. And a quick story is there was a PO by the police officer by the name of James Kurth last July. He was working the desk, and there was a shooting in the police station right outside. They call it a sally port. It's more like a garage, but he runs to the assistance, and he immediately gets shot. Hits his vest, saves him. Great story, and he's fine. And that was the very first day he wore his vest that we had just gotten. So I thought, what a great story. And, he's fine. God bless him. He's a great guy. And it's a good story. And it just, his vest was expired. And as he likes to say, it's like, would my old vest have stopped that bullet? He goes, I'm glad I didn't have to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great story. You need to put him on a video on your website or something.
He is.
Have him on WBBM or something like that.
He's been on radio, TV. Yeah, he's most appreciative, and we're most appreciative of him extending himself for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of my recent attendance at the SHOT Show. And one of the things that as both a supporter of law enforcement and an entrepreneur, there are some amazing things that some of these entrepreneurs are doing, whether it's ridiculously thin vests that fortunately I've never worn one and had somebody shoot at me to learn the efficacy myself, but they tell me that it is as effective as the larger Kevlar ones and much lighter. To my friends at Talus Ridge that understands what you just said is there's a breakdown because you put a vest on, you put all that stuff on, to use a highly technical term, and it gets hot. It's bad for the public safety professional. It's bad for the equipment, and they came up with a airflow system underneath to help keep them cool and keep everything else at a lower temperature. Some of the things that our entrepreneurs are doing in the public safety space, to not sound like a Pollyannish person over here, is really giving me hope. that they're really doing some great things for our public safety professionals. I don't know if some of those things have made their way to Chicago yet, but I hope they do.
I do too, and they're a big department, and they move slowly. So, but it'll get there. If it's not there yet, it'll get there.
Well, in being from Chicago, born and raised, lived there for almost 40 years, and I'm only 25. So, audience, figure that one out. Do the math. Yeah. You have so many different issues in Chicago that you wouldn't have, say, in Los Angeles or Phoenix, in that, you could have a ridiculous, 92-degree day with, 100% humidity. And a couple months later, wind up with 19-degree, wind chills. Like I used to say when I lived there, if you don't like the weather, wait a couple hours, it'll change.
It'll change. Usually for the worse.
Exactly. So, to kind of wrap this up over here, and you probably already mentioned it in our great conversation here, is what are you most proud of with the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation? If there's one thing, and I'm sure there's a number of things, having this foundation be around for almost 2 decades now, if I remember it correctly. Is there one or two things that you go back and say, yeah, we really, really did something here?
Of course, and thank you. That's an easy question.
I try to throw the easy ones out there, at least at the end. By this time, people are so tired of talking to me. It's okay. Here's a softball for you.
It's helping the families of officers killed or catastrophically injured in the line of duty. To me, that's the most important thing we do, bar none. And we do this by ensuring that every child of an officer who's killed or catastrophically injured can go to the school of their choosing and graduate from that school debt-free. And that's from kindergarten, elementary school, high school, college, postgraduate. To me, that's the least we can do for these families. And right now we're doing that for 22 children of officers who have been killed or catastrophically injured. We have one at Georgetown right now that's in pre-med. I'd love to see her go to med school and graduate and have our first doctor. That would be tremendous. So, she's doing great. And we also provide $60,000 immediately to an officer killed in the line of duty to the family, just for expenses. And obviously none of this in any way can replace a father, a mother, a sibling, a spouse.
Sure.
It's not, it's not possible, but thanks to the generous donations from citizens, the corporate world, and our payroll contributions from officers, we can ease their families' minds just a little bit and help them move forward.
Yeah.
That's to me the most important thing by far. And we do a lot of great things. It's just that's where I feel we do the most.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And that's definitely something that you should be proud of. For other foundations that may be listening, is there any advice that you might give to them? Because this, is still a tough time for many police foundations around the country. Any advice for them where, your foundation has found some success, or maybe you've been able to avoid a pitfall or jump over an obstacle?
Sure. So back to your question about the pendulum, it's WGN and Alderman Matt O'Shea from the 19th Ward here in Chicago did a WGN radio bond. They carved out 3 hours of radio time to fundraise for our Get Behind the Vest program. And in those 3 hours, they raised for us $220,000. That'll buy us almost 500 vests. So
nice. That's
tremendous. You can think outside the box. So Sunday, we had a pancake breakfast at St. John Fisher's Church. I don't have the numbers, but it was very well attended. And, it's just the community raising up and saying, we need to help our first responders. And this is a great way to do it. And, it's tremendous. And, you go to these things and you feel the love from people that you don't even know and they're just saying thank you. And they got great pancakes and sausages out of it too.
Well, that was going to be my big important question. Was it, like really good hearty wheat pancakes, or was it some Bisquick crap that, they just tossed? Now I'm going to have somebody. Now I'm going to have somebody from frickin' Bisquick call me and bitch me out.
No, they tasted really good, so I'm going to say they have some secret ingredients going on, so it's very tasty.
We're not even going there. Let's just say they were good pancakes.
They're outstanding.
And to the Bisquick people, I grew up on Bisquick, and damn it, it was good. And also the most important thing, if you're looking at any colleges that they want to go to, it should be DePaul or University of Chicago, because those are the only two that I went to. All right. Well, then to just kind of to wrap up a little bit, for the folks that are listening out there, and we are proud to have some listeners in the state of Illinois, how can they best find the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation if they want to donate, if they want to participate in an event in some way? How can they best find you?
Online, we are cpdmemorial.org. We're on Facebook, we're on all the other media sites, so we're easy to find, and we would love any contributions, and that's what makes this engine go. So thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you taking some time this morning and really giving us some insight into what I believe is one of the great police foundations out there in the country.
I have to agree with you on this.
See, not all of my guests are in disagreement with me. Actually, I would say most are in agreement with me. But Joe, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a privilege on my part. And thank you to all of you who have either watched or listened to this episode of Public Safety Talk Radio. We'll be back with you next week with another great guest. Public Safety Talk Radio is produced by the POCUA. POCUA is a consortium of financial institutions serving law enforcement as well as other first responders and public safety professionals. To learn more about our association and to find one of our credit unions or service providers near you, go to www.policecreditunions.com. And always remember, if you aren't working with one of our POCUA credit unions, you're just banking with an institution that just so happens to serve first responders. As a public safety professional, you and your family deserve better. Find a POCUA credit union today.